Another setback has occurred in Josh Duggar's ongoing legal battle. The federal court system just blocked Duggar's attempt to appeal his conviction. He is already in prison and has lost the public platform that made him famous. Swift and emphatic denial is evidence of how bad Duggar's legal argument is, as previously assessed by judges. Many took this as a strong indication that the shamed reality star is still struggling with issues of responsibility, rather than a simple formal denial. Even while behind bars, Duggar has attempted to sway the system, and his latest failed appeal has only served to highlight that pattern. The awful handling of the appeal shocked many. One observer described it as a merciless smackdown. In addition to failing to present a compelling case, Duggar's backers pointed out that the date he supposedly submitted the paperwork seemed to be an invention. The faithful Duggar family fans who have been following his troubles for years were very offended by this dishonesty. The extent he was willing to go through to lie about when he filed it tells me he's not learned a damn thing, said a furious fan. Others shared this frustration and mocked the former reality star for trying to get into legal trouble. And further enthusiasts said, "I can just imagine that arrogant, conceited criminal believing he used some legal magic and no one would discover his scam." The public's amazement and fury at Duggar's refusal to accept responsibility and his continued legal wheeling and dealing are expressed in these scathing comments. Just what is this? A lot of people, not just Duggar, have been impacted. Opponents brought up his past and placed the blame on his mother Michelle and the homeschooling environment. They say Duggar keeps acting like a mega celebrity, a label they don't think he deserves. This latest setback lends credence to the long-held views of those who think Duggar's narcissism stems from his years of protected fame and familial security. His behavior does not make people feel sorry for him. Rather, it brings attention to the reason why his demise was so shocking in the first place. In the end, there is consensus among proponents and opponents. Not only did Josh Duggar's latest legal effort at atonement fall flat, but it has simply served to reinforce the impression that he has not learned from his past mistakes. Josh Duggar, the eldest son of the famous Duggar family from the hit TLC show 19 Kids and Counting, is embroiled in yet another legal dispute. The Duggar name has always been synonymous with traditional values, large families, and religion. But Josh's troubles have tarnished that image. New federal court documents reveal what many are calling a brutal smackdown by prosecutors, leaving Josh with little room for maneuver. Latest progress. The federal government wasted little time in laying out its case against Josh, according to newly released court records. The documents, which have gained immense online attention, detail the gravity of the charges, the mountain of evidence that points to his guilt, and the prosecution's steadfast stance that his appeals and motions should be rejected. The court will not be swayed by minutiae, as Josh's arguments were characterized as baseless and desperate in one section of the document. Many Duggar family followers, who had previously looked up to Josh as an ethical role model, were stunned by the uncompromising tone of the documents. A chronicle of scams. Josh Duggar's name has been associated with scandal on more than one occasion. The Duggar empire was rocked to its very core in 2015 when old allegations of misbehavior surfaced again. The claims led to the cancellation of the show that had brought fame to the family, 19 Kids and Counting, on TLC. A few months following the massive Ashley Madison data leak, Josh admitted to cheating on Anna Duggar. In the midst of the growing media storm, the Duggar family made an effort to shield Anna and Josh's children from the scrutiny while publicly expressing their sorrow. But compared to other scandals, the current federal case is light years worse. Due to Josh's criminal charges, which have serious consequences, his loved ones and supporters are facing an unpleasant truth. What is revealed by the court records? The federal records present the prosecution's position in considerable clarity. Consistent with the records, there is strong evidence. The government claims to have irrefutable evidence of Josh's involvement in the case, including a robust digital trail. The arguments put up by his legal team regarding possible evidentiary inadequacy or inappropriate handling were all denied. The attorneys for Josh filed papers claiming an infringement of his constitutional rights, but the prosecution shot back that these claims were baseless and restated points from earlier hearings. In a particularly striking section, prosecutors accused Josh of wasting judicial resources by submitting fruitless appeals, which serves as a warning to the court. It was clear from this severe censure that the court does not hold him in high regard. Someone has said that the government is trying to use Josh as a case study because of how harshly the papers are worded. A cruel conflict. Not the evidence itself, but the tone of the papers has sparked debate. Legal professionals who reviewed the paperwork found that the prosecution was forthright. In expressing their disapproval of the defense team's strategy, the government used words like brazen, unfounded, and deliberately misleading multiple times. Josh, who has worked for a long time to portray himself as misunderstood or unfairly singled out, finds this kind of speech distressing. Instead of a scene of compassion or indulgence, the records show a man surrounded by incontestable facts. The Duggar wife, Anna, standing alone? In the midst of all of Josh's scandals, his wife Anna Duggar has been his rock. In all, the couple's offspring number 7. According to those close to Anna, she is torn between her religion, her promises, and the awful repercussions of Josh's actions, despite the fact that she hasn't spoken publicly about the turmoil. Anna, despite the growing number of critics and even some members of her own family who think her dedication is too expensive, has reportedly attended hearings and is steadfast in her support of Josh. Given the new court discoveries, her situation is expected to get far more complicated. The Duggars' peaceful life. The entire Duggar family has remained remarkably quiet in the wake of the recent filings that have made news. The Duggar family's patriarch Jim Bob and matriarch Michelle have a history of skillfully responding to Josh's problems by highlighting the need of prayer, forgiveness, and grace. The strategy, though, seems to be remaining silent this time. While the federal lawsuit takes center stage, the Duggars may be attempting to shield their already damaged reputation from more scrutiny by evading the limelight. Criticism and support from audiences. Strong and divisive opinions have been voiced online. Many loyal Duggar viewers expressed their condolences, recalling the times they held Josh in high esteem as the mature sibling. Some felt vindicated and thought the court's harsh reaction was long time. One of Josh's admirers wrote, "I used to look up to Josh on social media. Following perusal of the court's decision, I am once again left feeling duped." An online reviewer penned the following, "This isn't just a smackdown, it's the truth finally catching up with him. The justifications are over." As a whole, public opinion is deeply divided on the Duggar family's handling of the continuing crises, which highlights the need for a middle ground between blame, mercy, and faith. After this, what's in store for Josh? It would appear that Josh Duggar's future is not bright. Since the prosecution has shown no signs of shifting its stance, his appeals are likely to run into substantial roadblocks. Assuming the courts sustain the verdict and sentence, Josh could spend a significant amount of time behind bars, separating from Anna and their children. The odds of Josh's defense team presenting entirely new evidence, which seems unlikely, being used to overturn the conviction are low, according to legal experts. An all-inclusive perspective. Beyond being a tragic personal loss, Josh's death should serve as a cautionary tale to those who live their lives in the limelight. Following Josh's misdeeds has forced fans to confront the gap between what they see and what they experience, which is a blow to the Duggar brand's foundational principles of modesty, religion, and morality. As a result, many people are having difficult conversations about who is responsible, how to forgive, and why it's more important to defend victims than offenders. In conclusion, a dramatic shift has occurred in Josh Duggar's narrative since the most current revelations surfaced in federal court documents. The papers do little to alleviate his suffering and instead serve as a scathing indictment that calls into question the seriousness of his situation. Josh, the eldest son of the Duggar family and a former proud man, has fallen from grace in a flash. As his loved ones, admirers, and detractors cope with the aftermath, one thing is clear. This is just the beginning. Even if the court was harsh, Josh Duggar's story is still unfolding, regardless of whether he is in jail or not.